It's Sean Teaches Things. Sean Teaches Things.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the very first episode of Sean Teaches Things. I'm super excited to teach you guys all the things that I've learned throughout all the years. I was not someone who was naturally rhythmic, coordinated, athletic, or even strong. For example, when it came to strength, I used to always get my butt whooped by my sister at arm wrestling. And then when it came to dance, I never thought that I would be able to dance in my life. I thought I literally had two left feet. When it came to being coordinated for track or lifting, I learned to rely on my strength over coordination. Coordination is still a skill that I'm acquiring to this day. And my first intuition is to do the movement wrong. But after having so many great mentors, teachers, friends, and teammates throughout the years, I've learned how to be pretty good at what I do. I often get asked, how am I able to balance and learn all the things that I'm able to do, especially when a lot of them don't relate to each other? And that is through the secret of today's episode, the power of analogies. So what is an analogy? An analogy is a comparison of two unlike things based on a similar or shared aspect. For example, you've probably heard of the phrase, busy as a bee, or strong as an ox. That's comparing yourself to a bee or an ox, and it's pretty understood that oxes are strong, so that makes sense, you're strong as an ox. Or bees are always flying around, helping nature do its things, and that is what they mean by busy. And there are lots of other types of analogies as well, like comparing things that are functionally equivalent to each other. In the patent world, when we examine patents, we usually have to compare an invention to things that have been previously done before. That's how we grant them or deny them. Not all objects have to be one-to-one or exactly equal to each other for you to be able to reject them. For example, this table is a flat surface with 4 legs. You know what else is a flat surface with 4 legs? A chair. So if a person were to try and claim a table as an invention, you could reject them or deny them by showing them a chair. That's not a new invention because a chair is functionally equivalent to a table. It has a flat surface, it has 4 legs, and it's able to support something on top. Now, we all know that chairs and tables aren't the same, but since they can provide the same function, they are functionally equivalent. So what are the benefits of analogies? By finding the common place between things, I'm able to easily streamline my process of learning new things because I can incorporate past experiences to make things more intuitive. For example, I started running and doing track before I got into dance. A lot of things that I do in track is very rhythmic and it has a lot of natural movement. And that makes things a lot easier for me to wrap my head around and adjust and include into dance. So let me break it down for you. So running and jogging are movement that everyone has done at some point in their life. And that's a movement that we have some innate connection to. Whether we do it well or not is a different story. But at some point, we understand how to swing our arms. This type of swinging motion is useful for dance. In my style of popping, when I move my arm like this, as a robot, I'm incorporating the same idea of the arm swing that I learned from running. Oftentimes, in sprinting, when you focus too much on the angles, they say things like, oh, you look too robotic. Well, in dance, especially in popping, that's great. That's great, because that is the goal. The goal is to look robotic. But this mechanic is something that you're familiar with. So by utilizing that idea, it makes it feel more under control and more intuitive to you. Versus if I were to teach someone, hey, lift your hand, they might try and push weird and it might not feel as smooth. It also helps you to more easily remember things by categorizing things similarly. For example, the function of a muscle is to pull on your bones. By contracting and shortening, it pulls one bone closer to another. Yet, if you know any gym bro, they often say, "Hey man, I'm doing a push-pull day today." And that's an easy way for us to categorize and group muscles that function similarly. For example, your chest muscles, your tricep muscles, your leg muscle, like your quads, they are all pushers. So that's what they usually mean by push. Even though your chest is acting on your humerus bone, it's pulling it in, and your triceps are acting on your elbow, your ulnar and radius, to extend it. But this function in relation to your body is acting to push something away from you. While other muscles like your back, your biceps, your hamstrings are considered pull muscles because they pull things closer to you. All the muscles still pull, but based on how they move objects around you, that you can categorize them as push and pull. And that helps you remember and make sense of things a little easier. Discovering the connection between unrelated things is something humans have done throughout all of history. It's how we discovered math and science. For example, thousands of years ago, the Greek astronomer and mathematician Hipparchus noticed that if you take the length of an object's shadow and then line up the tip of that shadow so that the angle matches the height of an object, you can then discover the height of the object without actually having to take a ruler and take a ladder and go up and measure it. This is the foundation of trigonometry and a lot of other geometry and other maths that came along afterwards. As a result of his works and others that have built upon it, we're able to measure a lot of things that in nature that we would otherwise not have access to, such as mountains, the height of mountains, the length of rivers. And we've been able to do so with such accuracy that we've been able to regularly predict the movement of stars around us and celestial bodies. We're able to put satellites into space and triangulate their systems to find the position of where we are with very pinpoint accuracy. That's our GPS technology that we use every day. Not only that, analogies can teach you how to be a little more empathetic with someone, because not everyone will understand or get something in the same way that you do, because everyone has their own personal experiences. But by figuring out and understanding someone's personal experiences, you can help them figure out and connect ideas as well. And by doing that activity, you yourself are learning to become more empathetic, because now you're putting yourself in their shoes, and as a result, you end up helping them learn, which is great. Now that we know what analogies are, we can hunt for them in future episodes as we discover all the connections of how the world works. Thanks for coming with me on this journey. See you next time.